Good morning. It's now 9 a.m. This is the monthly meeting of Fairfield Glade Community Club Board of Directors will come to order. This morning's meeting is open to all members of the community club and is being recorded for viewing on the community club website. We are also live streaming this morning's meeting for member viewing. To honor America, please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence to remember those who are standing in uniform and defending freedom. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Pat, would you please call the roll of the board members?
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Floral?
Here.
Mr. Horn?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. Storm?
Here.
Mr. Wedgeworth?
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 7 board members present, therefore we do have a quorum.
Thank you, Pat. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the prior board meeting held on April 27th?
Motion to approve the prior board meeting of April 27th.
Okay, is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The minutes of the April 27th meeting are approved. This morning, Mayor Foster sends his regrets. He has a scheduling conflict this morning, and I didn't see Commissioner Mall or Commissioner Sherrill, I don't think, joined us. So we will move directly to the across-the-board message for today. This year, we'll elect 2 directors at large to the Board of Directors. The members of the Board of Directors are each elected for a 3-year term, and they are eligible to serve 2 terms, are required to be a member in good standing, and must own real property in Fairfield Glade at least 3 years prior to taking office at the annual membership meeting on September 15th. The Fairfield Glade Community Club is a property owners association, and each membership parcel is allocated 1 vote in the election process. Applications to be considered as a member at large candidate are available and must be submitted by 12 noon on Friday, June 2nd. The candidates event is scheduled for Thursday, July 27th. Electronic balloting begins on Monday, August 7th, and ends on Friday, September 1st. The results of the election are announced at the 2023 annual membership meeting held at 10 a.m. on Friday, September 15th. Newly elected members of the Board of Directors begin their term at the annual membership meeting and participate in the election of the Board of Directors officers immediately following the membership meeting. Officers of the Board of Directors serve a 1-year term. Bobby Jones Links continues to manage the operation of the Stonehenge Grill and snack bars for golf clubs. Bobby Jones Links is also consulting on the new Druid Hills Golf Club food and beverage venue. Adams Horn, the Director of Food and Beverage, and Bruce Cox, the Board Treasurer, continue to meet on a weekly basis to discuss performance to date and future plans. John Carpenter, a community club member, was hired on May 1st as the Stonehenge restaurant manager. An executive chef, Dustin Neely, was added to the Stonehenge restaurant staff as well. So we'd encourage you to please welcome both of them as you dine at Stonehenge. The Easter Sunday brunch was sold out for all 3 seatings and was a great success. Adams is also working with Dom Janewski, who heads up one of the Tuesday couples golf teams, to provide a pre-planned dinner following their round at Dorchester. The first event was held on May 2nd and continues each Tuesday. Adams hopes to use this as a launching point to offer more options to ladies down the road. Recently, members of the community club raised concerns over the number of guest passes that an individual member can request are amended in response Let's go with this one.
Unanimous.
Do this one. So recently, some members of the community club raised concerns over the number of guest passes that individual club members can request. Our amended and restated declaration of covenants and restrictions state that all members of the club shall be entitled to reasonable guest privileges. The Board of Directors gave considerable consideration to an alternative proposal that was presented by a group of members and has decided to maintain the current guest pass procedures and practices. The board will, however, review references to guest privileges where they exist on the community club website and in board policies. As a result of the board's consultations with the community club's legal counsel, the board has been informed that the community club will need to provide additional amenity access for members of the public in order to protect our 501c4 tax status as a membership organization. Access by members of the public to our swimming pools requires that the community club comply with the Tennessee Health Department regulations, which require lifeguards. The community club is working diligently to recruit, select, and train lifeguards as we move towards the implementation of the lifeguard program. We'll implement this program once we feel confident of its success and our ability to maintain it. We are focusing on the Druid Hills pool first, and general public access hours to that pool will be based upon the availability of lifeguards. As a reminder and a reassurance, all the pools will operate as they have in the past for members and guests with no interruptions. The Tennessee Health Department does not require lifeguards at the marinas. We continue to work with private club associates on their comprehensive strategic planning engagement to deliver a strategic plan document designed to grow, change, and evolve with time. The strategic planning process will include a review of the community club's mission statement, vision statement, core values, and identify the social fabric of Fairfield Glade. Included in the process will be an analysis of emerging trends among similar communities and an examination of our facility use data, along with forecasting of future needs. A regular membership communication plan is also a component of this planning process. On April 25th, we sent an email to all members on our email list regarding participation in several discussion groups. As part of their data gathering process, PCA facilitated discussion groups meetings yesterday, Wednesday, May 24th. On Friday, May 19th, we received the sad news that PCA partner Steve Paris passed away unexpectedly. Steve was a respected advisor and a good friend of the community club. We will all miss Steve's sage advice and are remembering Steve, his family, and his colleagues in our thoughts and our prayers. The new Strategic Planning Committee is engaged with PCA in developing a transformational strategic plan document. Once the strategic plan document is completed, presented to the membership, and approved by the board, the committee will be charged to develop and update a work plan to be reviewed annually by the board to recommend annual revisions to the plan document. Members who would like to share comments regarding the strategic plan initiative can reach out to the team by sending email messages to the team at strategicplanning@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the strategic planning team is also available on the community club website. The new compost site, located at 8812 Chestnut Hill Road, is open from 7:30 to 3:30 Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, except for major holidays. The site began accepting leaves, yard waste, sticks, and tree limbs up to 3 inches in diameter on Tuesday, May 2nd. You will need to show your membership card to dispose of any materials. The Druid Hills project team continues to work on the planning process to determine what the next Druid Hills clubhouse facility should provide for our growing community. The board has reviewed the conceptual design documents for the Performance Center from KDC. These design documents will be the basis for creating the construction drawings, which will be incorporated into a request for proposal to receive bids on the cost to construct the Performance Center. The conceptual design documents will be reviewed with the community at a June 9th town hall meeting. We have received 2 proposals for the construction of the driving range and putting green. These bids are currently being reviewed by the steering committee and the board. The proposed layout for the driving range will be presented to the community at the June 9th town hall for review and comment. The Food and Beverage Subcommittee has completed its analysis of the last community survey. What the Food and Beverage Committee has learned from the last survey, as well as the other data collection methods used by the committee, will be presented at that June 9th town hall meeting. The data has given the committee good insight into what the membership, golf packages, and timeshares say they would like to see in the new Druid Hills Clubhouse. And members who would like to share additional comments regarding Druid Hills project can reach out to the Druid Hills Steering Committee and the subcommittees by sending email messages to these committees at druidhillsprojects@fairfieldglade.cc. Information concerning the Druid Hills project is also available on the Community Club website. And an update on the Emergency Services Complex. We are awaiting the property transfer documents in order to complete the property transfer. Representatives from the Community Club Board, the Fairfield Glade Fire Department, their Board of Directors, and the Major Capital Projects Committee are meeting on a regular basis to identify the preliminary requirements for both tenants of the Emergency Services Building. And that is our May update from across the board. The next item on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report. Bruce?
Good morning. Can you hear me? All right. Get started. I'll remind you as you look at this that the numbers in parentheses relate to the same numbers on the data sheets behind the script. I'll start off with we continue to be strong. Our financials continue to be strong through April. On the balance sheet in sewer, we have a little over $4 million total cash compared to about $4.4 million at the end of April of 2022, which is a negative variance of a little over $251,000. For the Properties Association and the amenities, we have $3.7 million of capital cash plus $7 million of operating cash for a total of $10.7 million of POA and amenities cash compared to $8.8 million at the end of April of 2022, which is a positive variation of $1.9 million. On cash flow, sewer ended April with a positive cash flow of a little over $227,000, a positive variance of a little over almost $20,000 compared to budget. Revenue for April was positive a little over $7,000, primarily due to increased tap fees. Sewer was negative in repair and maintenance due to equipment expense, but that was countered by favorable expenses in materials and supplies for grinder pumps, which resulted in a positive variation of $12,800 in total expenses. Property Owners Association ended April with a positive cash flow of a little over $526,000, which is a positive variation of $354,000, driven by positions not filled in both the administration and community maintenance areas, reduced expenditures for materials and supplies, and reduced expenditures for services and fees. On the amenities side, we ended April with a negative cash flow of $931,000, which is positive variance of $240,000 better than budget. Food and beverage has a positive variance to budget of $79,000 through April. Golf was favorable to budget $110,000, driven by 4,324 rounds favorable to budget. In addition, all the amenities are operating with a positive variance to budget through April. Overall, POA and amenities ended the first 4 months with a negative cash flow of $405,000, which is $595,000 better than budget, which continues a positive trend, and we're going into the busy season, so I think that's just going to improve. I wanted to mention that the auditors came yesterday and met with the board in the executive session to review the 2022 audit. We had a clean audit, which means they found no deficiencies. And that audit will be posted on the website in the next few weeks. And I want to congratulate our Director of Finance, Amy Kincaid, and her staff for the fine work in handling our finances and having us have a clean audit for 2022. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Okay, the general manager's report, Bob.
Okay, thank you. The new welcome sign at the square is completed now, including all the landscaping and what have you, so we're glad to see that done. The contractor has now moved to the new sign in front of, or before St. George Drive, and they've poured the footers, and then hopefully next week we'll start to see the rock work on the columns start. And so we hope to have that completed before the end of June. That will also, that's the old Fairfield Glade sign that's going there. And then in addition, we're going to have 2 directional slats, one for St. George Marina and then one for Wyndham Guest Check-In. Other community improvements, we're still waiting on the county road superintendent to let us know when they're going to start the chip and seal program. So our commissioner, Colleen Mall, is working on that, as well as Sam McAdoo, contacting them on at least a weekly basis to try and get that moving forward. We're still working with the Rogers Group to schedule our asphalt paving. That's usually done in the summertime as the weather gets warmer. So we should have that starting soon, and we typically will send out an email as to the roads that are being paved so you can kind of avoid those as you travel. And then we're close to finishing some drainage work on the south side of the Racket Center. That's all designed to alleviate the water intrusion on the indoor courts. We think a lot of that is groundwater that's seeping up, and so that drainage work is designed to alleviate that. Other items, year-to-date golf rounds through last month were 31,800, and as Bruce mentioned, that's about 4,300 more than budget and 3,200 more than last year, primarily due to preferred rounds as well as better weather this year. For the year, the average rounds per course per day open were 98 compared to 97 last year, so we're seeing improvement there. And the following PRs have been approved by me or the SMT because they fall under the $25,000 threshold to come to the board, and that is 2 fire hydrants for $11,752. So each year we add fire hydrants to the community, whether they be new areas or also areas where we've seen the fire hydrant has failed or what have you. And that is my report.
Thanks, Bob. The resort report. Barb?
Good morning. Wyndham timeshare revenues, the center, $3,456 and 2% of like revenue. The racket sports, $9,974, which is 9%. Dartmoor Marina, $10,900, which is 20%. St. George Marina, $75.42, which is 15%. Golf, $118,115, which is 8%. Food, $87,053, which is 12%, for a total of $237.40, which is 9%. Wyndham timeshare visitors year-to-date are 15,816, and month-to-date 1,140. Thank you.
Thanks, Barb. The architectural control report. Sam?
Thank you. The architectural controls report for this month is miscellaneous approvals, which are changes to established homes. Year-to-date is 628. The same time last year was 540. New homes approved year-to-date is 37. Same time last year was 43. New homes completed, including manufactured homes, year-to-date is 33, and same time last year is 39. Is there any questions? Nope.
Okay, you have a question?
Yes.
To the front, please.
Sam, one point I wanted to make on the leaf dump, I wanted to thank you for all your team's hard work on it. And my question to you is, do you have a plan in place to start assessing the common areas, the areas that are maintained by the club, to rid them of the dead pine and so forth. It's quite extensive that I see anyways, and looks like it's going to be a chore.
Common areas throughout Fairfield Glade. It's from the extreme north section all the way to the south section. Common areas used for the enjoyment of property owners in Fairfield Glade Community Club. We do not normally routinely clean up common areas. Common areas can be used for drainage, they can be used for reserved property, they can be used for any number of reasons. It would not be something that we would go in and routinely clean up, much like we would not normally routinely ask lot owners to clean undeveloped lots up. Common areas also include areas in and around the square, the walking paths, the trails. Those type of high-use areas are maintained by my staff, and they are routinely cleaned up. So I would have to know exact common area that you're referring to. On a case-by-case basis, I would be able to look at that. But to say that we need to go and look at every common area in Fairfield Glade Community Club would be a astronomical undertaking. So if you have specific areas that you want to address, then I'll be glad to meet with you and discuss that. Okay?
Pat, you're going to have to step up to the microphone, because you need to step up to the microphone, because otherwise you're not picked up on the recording.
Pat Grouet, a longtime resident here. My question for the roads where there are dead trees, does that fall under VEC or the county? For example, on Catoosa, there's a lot of dead pines that are along the road. Are these taken care of by another source other than Fairfield Glade?
There are various property owners involved with situations such as dead trees on the side of the road, because we have to look at them and say, is it a property owner's property that comes to the road? Is it VEC right-of-way that comes to the road? Is it Fairfield Glade Community Club right-of-way? So again, I would need to know the exact area, because then I have to research who owns and who is responsible for that property. I have the authority to take some action in situations like that, but I would need to know exactly where we're referring to. So if you call me.
Does it fall under VEC's bailiwick or what?
Well, again, I would have to know exactly where you're talking about, because it could be any number of property owners and responsibility there.
Yeah, just to be clear, VEC just has a utility easement, so the trees are typically on common property. The only thing they're going to do is trim those trees if they have problems with their lines. So they're not going to come in and just take out trees because they're dead, for example. But if they're creating problems for the utility lines, then they'll come in and trim them up. And they usually do that on an annual basis, what have you. So.
Good morning. My name is Bob Bainsky, and my question is on St. George, between St. George Place and Brambleton Drive, we had a pretty bad effect from the crosswinds here a couple months ago. The community did a great job of getting the road opened up. However, it's a very unsightly mess left there by all these dead trees and brush that just got pushed off to open the road. Is there any plan to kind of clean that up?
I'm not aware of any plan to currently go in and clean it up. I have had my guys go in and remove the trees that were pushed out of the way from storms and such, if they're in an area or unsightly. So if you send that to me,
I'll
we'll
put
take
a
look.
request in then and send that over?
Yeah, just send me an email. I think you have my email.
Yes. All right, thank you.
Yeah, in general, to clarify too what Sam was saying, if it's a natural area, typically we're not maintaining that unless it becomes very unsightly like you just described, and that's something that we would go in and clean up. The common areas that are more the park settings and things of that nature, you maintain.
Any other questions?
Okay,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Sam. Okay, this morning we have no items of unfinished business on the agenda. We do have, under new business, one purchase requisition to consider, and that is the welcome sign before St. George in the amount of $10,000.
Yes, this is one that we have it in the budget for $10,000, but realized that we hadn't brought forward a PR to the board. And we're bringing that forward because the total project was about $108,000, including all the signage along Peavine Road. So again, this is to finish that sign before St. George Drive, in the amount of $10,000.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the PR for $10,000 for the St. George sign?
I make a motion to approve the $10,000.
Second. Second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the $10,000 purchase requisition for the St. George sign is approved, Pat. At this time, we'll recognize Phil Birdsall to present an FGRS update.
Good morning, everyone. This month, I just have two short updates to report on behalf of Fairfield Glade Resident Services. First, as I think I indicated to all of you last month, 3 new members have been appointed to the FGRS Board of Directors, and they were formally introduced at a recent board retreat held on May 11th. 2 are familiar faces within FGRS, having served or still serving as program directors. The first new board member is Jenna Anderson. She has been named to the board. She was formerly the program coordinator in our Caring Connections program. She and her husband Roger have been active in FGRS for some time. Secondly, Hank Henning is now a member of the board. Most of us are familiar with Hank. Hank, among other things, has been the manager of the Way to Go program at FGRS for 5 years now. The third new board member is Lisa Williams, who is a social worker, master's of social work, and currently is employed at the Good Samaritan facility as the lead for bringing new residents into their independent living section. All 3 are residents of Fairfield Glade and have many, many meaningful contacts in the Cumberland County area that we believe will strengthen our outreach into our community. We're looking forward to their contributions as we continue to respond to the human service needs of a changing community. So remember those names for me, please. Jenna Anderson, Hank Henning, and Lisa Williams. Second, another reminder that the Christ Lutheran Memorial Golf event will take place again this fall in September, on September 17th, beginning at noon out at Dorchester. I say this to you because this is an event that benefits FGRS thanks to the generosity of the church, and in fact is a major portion of our fundraising efforts this year. The golf committee, which is composed of both church people and FGRS people, is gathering business support for whole sponsorships and donated prizes. Please keep that in mind. Now, there are 28 foursome spots available. They are selling, if you will, at the same pace as last year, and last year we sold, if I recall correctly, either 27 or 28 of those spots. So don't procrastinate. All Fairfield golfers are encouraged to get involved because of the fact that it is a very prominent and significant charity event for us. This year, the top prize for the hole-in-one contest is up to $25,000. And we want to thank Cumberland County Playhouse for sponsoring this prize. This year, we're doing something different. The golf outing, if you're interested in eating, will be followed by a catered dinner supplied by Food City at the Christ Lutheran Church, which is at Sneed and Lakeview. And that's all for this month, but as always, I want to take the opportunity to remind everyone to let us know where there's a need, whether it's your need or a friend's need or a neighbor's need or simply something you think in the community in general needs to be addressed. That's our best way for finding out what we may need to do next as a community service agency. Remember, you can always come into our office. It's in the strip mall behind Dollar Tree, and we're open Monday through Friday from 9 to noon. So thank you again, and please join me this weekend in remembering those of our military personnel who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect and preserve our freedom. Thank you very much. And I'm going to have a comment from the floor. Can I sit down and come back? What works
Why
best?
why don't you just go ahead and
I certainly
and
appreciate
do
that
that now. I'll
point of
save you the
privilege.
steps.
First of all, Bruce, I don't think we should take lightly the fact that you got a clean audit. And
I
hope
don't.
that- Well, I just hope that you'll express from me, and I think for everybody here, to the staff and everybody, and to yourself, of course, for the fact that we've done that. On that same subject, I read something yesterday, and I haven't confirmed it, but I'm going to speak to it. I read that Cumberland County was one of only 9 counties in the state to receive a clean, perfect audit score for the 2nd year in a row. So if you see Mayor Foster, with whom I believe we have an outstanding relationship at this point between the county and the community club, please pass along to him your thanks and your appreciation for that, and I sincerely believe that this time he could really use that support. So thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
At this time, we'll take other comments from the floor, and we would ask you to step to the microphone and identify yourself with your name and address, and please limit your comments to 2 minutes in length.
Is this on? Good morning.
Yep, you're good.
My name is Lil McCrae, and I've been a resident for 5.5 years. I live at 18 Dockside Drive. I teach water aerobics, as you can see by my shirt, here in the Glade for the past 5.5 years. Started out at the indoor pools here, and Abby said they didn't have a water aerobics instructor, so I started teaching indoors here. I love what I'm doing. Our classes have grown tremendously. I understand there's a need for wristbands inside. We have not had to participate in those because we arrive earlier before the pool is open to the public and the Wyndham Resort area, or people that come in. But I'm concerned about the lakes and how this is going to work. There's people that live in homes on the lakes, and they possibly come in on their boats and come in. Are they going to have to get wristbands there at the lakes? Or I guess I should have addressed this to Mr. McIndoe. I apologize for not coming up sooner because one of the board members did tell me to address him, and I sent him a letter. As a resident, we have to sign in for our classes. We abided by all the, when 2020 came and COVID came, we were forced to quit water aerobics. It was heartbreaking. And so by June, we were ready to go outside, and we went out to the Lake St. George. Abby said as long as we abided by all the necessary rules and regulations, standing 6 foot and everything, we did that. And I can proudly say that not one person from our class got COVID. People needed that. They needed the camaraderie between one another, and it was something that grew threefold, water aerobics did. I think it became more a mental thing than a physical thing that we needed. Anyway, I'm just concerned as to how these wristbands are going to work for residents. I think it should be made a little bit easier, maybe a generic one for residents, a rubber band with our name and our number on them, engraved on them. I'd be willing to pay $5 for one of these bands even to be made up so that we don't have to go and stand in a line there and get a wristband and then go out to the lake and then stand in another line before we even begin classes. Thank you.
Sam, do you want to talk at all about how we're doing the wristbands at the marinas? No, hang on. Sam's going to.
I emailed you this morning. That's all right. We're implementing the wristbands. If you go to the pool, you have to go through a checkpoint, and they verify your membership. We don't have that luxury at the marinas, so we had some comments about who's utilizing the beaches. And so what we're putting in place is that My staff will go out and check ID cards. They'll issue you wristbands if you're already on the beach, and then you can check in at the marina and get a wristbands. They'll have the date on it. I saw your email with the rubber wristbands. There's reasons that we don't want to do that. However, I did talk to the marina managers specifically concerning your water aerobics class. They can come. We're not going to issue them wristbands. They do the class and they go home, which he said that nobody stays usually. If they want to stay on the beach, then they would just check in and get a wristband, or we would check them but to come and go for the water aerobics, I'm not going to have you guys come and check in. That would take longer than the class. Yeah, and we're going to have to handle it because it's the first time that we're doing it. In this manner, we're going to have issues come up. Water day, pavilion rentals, things of this nature, water aerobics, classes, anything like that, we'll handle on a case-by-case basis. But we're trying to implement some procedures that will identify how many outside guests we have and also if the guests that are there are members, or Wyndham has wristbands already, and they do this at the pools. We actually got the wristbands from Abby, so we'll try it. If you have any issues, you're welcome to contact me or Tom Sawyer or Sharkey, okay? But I don't think it'll be a problem for you. All right, thank you.
Okay, Pat, you were next.
My name is Pat Gruway, and I've lived here for 22 years. I've attended 200-plus board meetings. The only person that outdoes me is right over there, Pat Davis. What do you want, about 3,000? You're amazing. The reason I just wanted to extol the virtues of Fairfield Glade, because unfortunately my wife and I have to move to be nearer to family, but I've lived here, as I said, for 22 years, been in many, many organizations and clubs. The only thing I never ran for was the board, because I did not want to be the first member ever impeached. Trust me. Anyway, here we do. We have 11 lakes, 5 golf courses that are pristine. Great job, Jeff. Competent police department, Katie, fire department. We really do. We have a great board of directors. And, you know, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of boards in the past, and some of them were marginal. But the last 8 or 9 years, our board of directors has been very competent. And since 2011, when he joined us, Bob Weber is the guy who has turned this place around. Whether you like him or not, the man's done a great job, and you're to be complimented. Your whole management team is, Bob. We're debt-free, which is amazing. Good job, Bruce. You know, we have 11 lakes, hiking trails, community center, the Grove, and a proposed new Druid facility that's going to be beautiful. We have everything that fits everybody's needs, a refurbed racket center, and we have an organization for everybody's needs no matter what. I just found out the other day what a dulcimer is. Does anybody know what a dulcimer is? I lived here 22 years, I had no clue. But anyway, they got a dulcimer club. So we have a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant, thanks to this gentleman right over here, Bruce Evans. I'll tell you what, if your toilet goes down, you know how bad it is. This man is responsible for our wastewater. He's done a great job. As I mentioned, a competent police department, fire department. And we're very fortunate that we have a very able leader in our county by the name of Alan Foster, who unfortunately is not here today, but has done a great job, and he's a firm believer in Fairfield Glade. He really is, and he supports us 100%. And I think that Fairfield Glade's relation with the county is becoming better and better. I sure hope it is. And in closing, we have, for the first time, to my knowledge, we have 2 residents that are members of very key boards. One is VEC. We have a gentleman by the name of Phil Smith, who sits on the VEC board, and a gentleman by the name of Greg Hansen, who's going to sit on our water board, which is brand new, and as many of you know, we are looking at a regional water supply, which is absolutely critical to the survival of Fairfield Glade and our county. So we're in good shape there. Last but not least, I don't care what anybody says, we have damn good roads. I lived up in the Northeast, our roads were horrible. I think our roads are terrific here in Tennessee, and in Fairfield Glade, they're pretty doggone good. We also have the help of Wyndham and people that visit here to help keep our costs down. And we should appreciate these people and not malign them. We need them. Otherwise, your golf course, your golf rates would be much higher. Everything would be much higher. These people spend money here, and they should be welcomed. And last but not least, we have a memorial park going up, and that again is headed up by Phil Smith. And I'll tell you, not too many communities can boast about a memorial park, and we're going to have a beautiful one sooner or later. It's going to take some time. COVID hurt it, but I hope you guys will support it. And the only thing I can tell you right now, folks, is support this community, support your board, support the management team, and support all our organizations, because you've got it made here, believe me. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Pat. Are there any other comments from the floor? Okay, do we have any comments from members of the board?
Yes, I have one. Yesterday, during the workshop, Sam McAdoo, Director of Community Maintenance, presented to the board a proposed revised sanitation policy. The board reviewed that with Sam, and we're comfortable with that, and we're going to send it out to the community for 30 days' notice for review. It cleans up a lot of language in it. It also adds great information about recycling. So look for that to be posted here shortly.
Okay, do we have any other comments from members of the board?
Yes, I have one. This is an advertisement for Druid again. On June 9th at 3:00 p.m. here at the center, we're having our next town hall. We'll get an email out next week for everybody so you know what it is. And it'll have the topics in it and everything. The key things that we're going to go over is you're going to get a report out from the golf committee that's going to show you the conceptual designs of what the driving range putting green area is going to look like at Druid, and also the conceptual design of what the golf performance center is going to look like. We'll have people there from the golf community that will be able to answer your questions, and this is keeping our promise that we're not going to turn any dirt until two things happen. Number one, we've got the property straightened out, and number two, the community has seen it and given us a chance to get our feedback from you about what you think of what's going on. The second big presentation will be the food and beverage and group, and the committee there, what they're going to do is mainly report out on what we found out with all the mechanisms that we've had in terms of collecting what people want at the Druid Hills facility. And that means that we've spent most of our time on what people want thus far. Now we're going to have to get into what will people support, because those are the two questions that we said to the community we have to answer before we know what we're going to do there. And so the support piece is going to be probably, I would say, even more important than the want list, because at the end of the day, this community and our other community participants, the golf packages, Wyndham, other guests, if they don't support what we're trying to do over there, it's not worth doing. So please come on June 9th and take part in this. There'll be plenty of time for questions after the presentations, and the idea is to really get your feedback and to give you an opportunity to tell us what you think. Okay? Thank you.
Just quickly, what time was it on June 9th?
3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
Okay?
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second to the motion? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to adjourn is passed. We stand adjourned.